right. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Untherapeutic, a relationship podcast for people who don't go to therapy. I'm super excited today because we're talking about a topic that all of us, I'm sure, have had some dealings with. Obviously, it varies depending on the relationship, but social media is something that you cannot avoid. And so, obviously, it shows up in our relationships. So, I'm super excited to introduce Karen de Amat. She's the founder and CEO of Social Behavior. I'm going to let her introduce herself and just share a little bit about social behavior, what you guys do, and kind of some of the work that you're involved in here in the city and even nationally.
Oh, thank you so much, Nick. I'm so happy to be on the Untherapeutic
Yes.
podcast for people who don't go to therapy. Although therapy is a great resource, and I'm happy to be here talking about such a great topic. And I'll just start by telling you a little bit about me and social behavior. So, about 9 years ago, I started a company called Social Behavior. It is a fusion of social media and consumer behavior. So I tapped into social media early on as a marketing professional about 15 years ago. I started posting on LinkedIn, started posting on Facebook, caught my boss's attention, and he was like, "What are you doing? How are you so successful at your sales and everything that you're doing?" And the simple answer was, "I'm documenting my life on social media." And he was
Mhm.
like, "Wait, what?" This is unheard of.
You
15
were a
years
pioneer.
no one knew the power, and
Yeah.
so I had leveraged my entire life on social media by just really oversharing. And so I am an oversharer. I've documented my whole life's journey on social media for the last 15 years, so I was kind of very early, an early adapter in this space. And then 10 years ago I started a social media company where I charge businesses to kind of take over their social media, take that off of their hand, let them run their business, and then I in turn do all everything social media related for them. We've been in business for almost 9 years. We have a team of 9 individuals here in Houston that we work with, and we're just really passionate about what we do. And there's a little bit of crossover, right, with what I do for work, but also what I do in my personal life on social media. I still tend to overshare, and I think it's going to play nicely into this topic.
It is. And I think it's a perfect mix because even when you said that you were overshare, I mean, I literally got anxiety just thinking about documenting my life. So it is a great just topic for one, because often in relationships, you have these two come together. You have someone who, let's just say is an oversharer and someone who may be a little bit more private. And it creates a lot of tension, or it can create a lot of tension from a relationship perspective. So let's just kind of start at the top. When you think about social media and relationships, how much stock should we put into what someone does, what they expose, what they share? Because, oftentimes you hear people say, well, I'm just kind of private. And then you may hear somebody else say, well, why didn't you post me? Why didn't you tag me? Like, how much value should we put in social media when it comes to relationships?
Oh man, I can't wait to share something about me in my current relationship that just ties in so perfectly with this topic.
Mhm.
But I think the stock, right, the value of what we put into our relationships on social media is really variable for everyone. Everyone, there's no right or wrong answer, right? It just depends on what what you're going to get out of putting your relationship on social media and what your partner is going to get out of it. What type of validation are you seeking from people on social media? Because I always start, like you said, let's start at the top. Well, let's
Mhm.
start at the real top. Social media is not real life.
Yeah.
And I think people forget that because we get so caught up living our lives on social media that we're almost living for social media. But
Mhm.
that's not how it should be. We
Mhm.
should be living our lives for ourselves on our own terms in our own worlds outside of social media. And so that's kind of where I like to start is let's just call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
It is an augmented reality that we are creating by what we're sharing.
How do you, just kind of piggybacking off of that, where you say we shouldn't live our life for social media? If we were to do a survey, probably 9 out of 10 people would say, "Oh no, that's not me. I'm not living my life for social media." Even if they are, when do you cross over? Like, when does it become, I'm doing this for me and I'm doing this so I can post it?
I think it's a gut check. I
Okay.
think people really have to check in with themselves and their motives and their intentions. And what type of validation are you getting from social media that you're not getting from within?
Okay.
Mhm.
We were talking about the oversharer. One of the things that comes up, I see this in counseling a lot, and it amazes me because I'm like, man, this is so petty. Like, why are y'all even, talking about this? But I mean, obviously, it's big because it's big to them. Somebody posts, somebody doesn't post.
Mm,
How do you reconcile? Because let's just be honest. If I'm kind of, you know, doing a little more than I should, talking to multiple people, I'm definitely not putting it out there. So
yeah,
there is that. But then you also have the fact that some people are just naturally private. How
yeah,
do you kind of, okay, is this person being shady or is this just who they are?
yeah, absolutely. I think it stems from a maturity level,
Mm,
right? And I think in my early professional life and in my early social media life, I longed to share a relationship. That was like one of the things that I wanted to do, because that was kind of like a stepping stone, right? In your journey,
mhm.
when you follow
Yeah.
people in their life and you follow people on social media, you're like, well, they share what they wore to work that day and they share who they're, what they're cooking or what they're eating
Mhm.
that day. And they're also sharing their husband and their boyfriend. So I'm like, oh, well, I can't wait to share my boyfriend.
Yeah, yeah. Look at me now.
And that exactly. And so I almost wanted that just because I needed to like check that box on
Mm,
social media. I can tell you that, I was single for 8 years, and when I was single, but I was in a relationship with my business, to be quite honest with you, because I really committed my whole life and everything to my business. And so I was never really consumed by that with, oh, am I going to, because I was also dating, but I
mhm.
was never thinking about, oh, I can't wait to post this person. Or I was just like, when the timing is right, I'm going to take that next step with my partner and we're both going to talk about it and see how we feel.
Yeah.
And so I never got into that weird scenario of, oh, I'm going to post someone's, back or someone's hand or go on a date or let people know that I'm, dating.
You're saying it, but not saying it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. As far as I'm concerned, I was going on 1,000 solo dates to my social media audience,
Yeah, yeah. They're
but
like, wait, something's not right with this.
yeah, yeah. No, it's exactly. And the thing is too, so I just never needed that validation from social media while I was single. And it's funny because I got into a relationship, and this is where it gets super exciting. I got into a relationship with the man of my dreams. We've been
Mhm.
together for almost 2 years, and he literally is my support system, just emotionally and
Good.
spiritually. And he is just my ride or die. The guy is as private as a turtle in a shell. Like the guy will not come out on social media. He just
Mhm.
won't. And so I really was put in a situation where I was like, oh man, so I finally got what I wanted, but I'm not gonna get to have that public relationship. And I had to just gut check, like, am I okay with it? We talked
Mm.
about it, and he was like, look, I mean, my whole family knows that I don't do social media. I just don't do it. I'm a very private person in that regard. And as time went on, I was like, I have to take that at face value because I know that, he is a private person and we
Yeah,
have a beautiful relationship. So am I going to pick a fight about not being on social media
yeah,
when there are pictures of us on his family's walls? Like, what's it going to be,
yeah, yeah. You got to pick your battles and be wise in that. Now, what if someone? Because this comes up too. What if someone posts everything but you?
Ooh. Oh,
So
man.
you have some people who are just private. I mean, just 100% they're private.
Mhm.
And it's easy, and well, I don't say easy, but it's easier in those situations to say, man, this is just who this person is, and you kind of, respect those boundaries. But then you do have situations where people say, well, I'm just private about my relationships. but you'll see them post when they're out. You'll see them post new outfits, travel.
Red flag, red
Red
flag,
flag.
red flag.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it'd be the same kind of scenario too, even if I was
Mhm.
in the same relationship as I am now, and my man was oversharing everything, because then that would just be contrary to what you told me previously about you being a private person.
Yeah.
Now, I think that two people in a relationship have to set those boundaries and expectations, because you don't want people's feelings to get hurt. What if they're both okay with oversharing everything except them and
Mm.
accept each other? But I do think that it just depends on, being able to set the healthy boundaries and expectations in that dating. Even when you're dating, it's
Yeah.
got to be healthy. Even if you're having casual relationships with no titles,
Hmm.
it's got to be healthy.
Yeah. You talked about red flags. What other red flags should people be looking for when they look at social media? Because you meet someone, social media is like it's like the resume. It's the first place you're going. You know.
Yeah, I think dead giveaway is if you have your Snapchat at name in your bio with
Okay.
the little ghost. That's called crap chat. And that's
Okay.
where people are sharing stuff that
Yep.
I wouldn't want someone I'm dating sharing.
Mhm.
Okay. I think secondly is if they have if to me a red flag, and I'm sorry, but mirror selfies, uh,
Mm.
just gym selfies, just
Yeah.
a selfie mural.
Yep.
Um, no, I don't
But
know.
somebody right now is probably listening, like, is it looking good?
Yeah, man, just go clean, just go
As
clean
they
it up.
delete
They're
selfies.
they're looking like, oh, I gotta go delete my Snapchat,
Yeah. Yep.
username. I think those are red flags.
Yeah. And do you think that applies to both men and women? So do you think women get a little bit more grace if they post more selfies?
You know, I think it's tricky, because I think women post selfies. They also post provocatively. They also post, look at J Lo.
Mhm.
She's a very, desirable to me, sexy woman, and
Mhm.
she's apparently happily married for the third or fourth time. I don't know.
8. I think
Yeah,
we're on number
yeah.
8 or 9.
But I still love her,
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
she's gonna bring big sexy energy all the time. So I do think that women do get a little bit of grace in this space,
Okay.
but simply because I think more women post for their own self-validation, right?
Mhm.
And then also too, it's also about the intentions. There
Yeah.
are some women that are just waiting for that perfect selfie and that perfect opportunity to drop a gladly dressed selfie, because they're waiting for their DMs to go off. And
Mhm.
so women do it with different intentions all the time.
Yeah. So this is a word, this word is thrown around a lot. I mean, I even see people use it incorrectly, but it's big and I see it used a lot even when it comes to social media, and that's gaslighting.
I knew you were going to say
You
that.
you knew it. You knew it's like the word of 2022, right?
It
Gaslighting.
is. It is.
Boundaries was 21, so 22 and 23 is gaslighting. But it's true because you see someone who say, "Hey, you're doing this," like everything you kind of just said, right? Like red flag. They're doing this, or you're sharing excessively, really questioning the intentions, and someone says, "You know what? That's not it.
Mhm.
You are insecure. You are jumping to conclusions." Give me your thoughts on that.
That's a narcissist talking. I'm just
Okay.
kidding.
But I mean, kinda though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that we hadn't put our finger on the gaslighting. We hadn't put our finger on it before, but it's been occurring for years. We just
Mhm.
hadn't coined a term for it, or
Yep.
we hadn't been, made a term so popular. But I do think that when you're in a relationship, when you're dating, when you're even entering a relationship, social media is a hot topic.
Mhm.
I waited weeks before I even brought it up. And some women want to go on a date with a man, and on day one, are we going to post our relationship on social media?
Yeah.
And that's just not the conversation that you need to be having on day one. If
Mhm.
that's what if that's what you're trying to get at on day one, you're probably not dating a person, with the right intentions or the right reasons. So I think somebody can react a certain way, like, hold up, wait, what? No, I don't post anything. I think
Mhm.
it's too early.
Yeah.
You might find people or men that overshare, that never wanted to share anything about a relationship on social media. And they get so excited and
Mhm.
so happy about the relationship. They're the first ones to announce it.
Yeah.
They're the
Mhm.
first ones to share. So I think you need to let things develop organically before someone comes and says, "Oh, you're gaslighting me," or, "Why aren't we posting each other if you do this or that?" I mean, I think it took about a month before I even brought it up to my boyfriend, where we were going to have a conversation about it. And when he told me his stance on it, like, I had to just come to a decision in my mind, like, am I okay with this?
Yeah.
Like, this is how it's going to be, and I have to respect that. Or if I'm
Yeah.
not, I can walk away from the relationship.
You have that decision making. I am glad that you said that. I always joke about some of the buzzwords, but the truth is, gaslighting has been around. People have been doing this for decades, if not longer. When you kind of put that name on it, sometimes it normalizes, and people kind of can find themselves in that situation. Because I've seen this even well before we start talking about gaslighting. People would manipulate a situation to convince someone that what they saw really wasn't what was happening, and so
Mhm.
you see it a lot in social media too. So, there's this, you have the obvious, right? We talk about gaslighting, but then there's this gray area, okay, where it's not quite wrong, kindish. So I'm gonna just throw some scenarios out. And again, no right or wrong, just is this okay? All right.
Hey,
Is
let's
this
hear it.
okay? So,
Let's hear it.
first one is, should you follow your ex?
Oh, oh man, tough, tough one. Um, it depends. I think it depends. There's a little bit of a caveat on how the relationship ended, and what kind of terms are y'all on, because I oh my god, I don't want to come out and say, like, I follow my ex. We haven't unfollowed each other, but we haven't, liked anything of ours.
Mhm.
I think, and this is a very, very old ex, right? If it was like a
Okay.
recent relationship, and I've been with somebody for 2 years now, and I know that that person is still like pursuing me or after me.
Mhm.
Sometimes exes have no regard for whether you're with someone new or not, because they were
Mhm.
with you before. So
Yeah.
they think that they still have access to you. And that's where I kind of draw the line. Like, if it's somebody that I know, has the potential to do any kind of damage or send me any message or just trespass my boundaries, I'm going to just not follow that person, because I
Okay.
just don't want to do anything with them. I might as well, I might go as far as even blocking them, because I
Mhm.
don't want to be interrupted in my current relationship.
Okay. Does it bring more attention when you block someone though?
Yeah, I think it sends a signal of, hey, I don't want to be disturbed. And if that person is determined to make your life hell or have some kind of access to you, they're gonna keep, finding a way around. I think
Mhm.
it's an aggressive action.
Mhm.
um, I think you have to check yourself, like, what am I gonna get out of blocking this person if I know within, me, that I'm not gonna message them. But I've been put in awkward situations before where they start following my business, or they
Mhm.
start messaging my business page. And I'm like, well, my employees read that. And so
Yeah.
I have to take that drastic measure, because I cannot have you anywhere near this channel or my channels.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I hear people tell me sometimes in counseling, they'll say, "Oh, I blocked her," or "I blocked him," and
Yeah.
then we'll have another session 2 weeks later, and they're like,
I
I'm like, "Are you
unblock.
still blocked?" They're like, "No, I unblocked them."
No, I unblock. Yeah, no. It's an aggressive stance, and it's definitely a conversation starter. If people want to find you in real life, they will.
Okay.
Blocking someone on social media is just a button. You got to
Mm.
block people in real life.
That's real. That's it right there. All
Mhm.
right, here's the next one. So, happy birthday. Just a simple, innocent message. Should you respond, or, because I hear people like, man, she just wished me happy birthday. She just said hello. Like, do I ignore? Do
It was
I,
innocent. It
you
was
know,
innocent. It was innocent.
everything okay? Just
Oh,
checking on you, you know.
look, I think happy birthdays and I think holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I'm always gonna hear from the same person on those 3 holidays.
Okay.
So I know that they're using that as like an open invitation to
Hmm.
start a conversation with me because they know that it's a holiday.
Oh yeah. Hey,
Oh,
stranger.
oh, hey stranger, or they remembered you, they remembered you. So now all of a sudden you're already having a day where, it's kind of emotional and it's just,
Hmm.
very exciting day. And now you get a message from your ex and you're like, oh my God, you get warm and fuzzy. Mm-mm. If those
Don't
are the
do it.
feelings you're having, you need to check yourself
Mm.
because this person took an opportunity to come at you on a day where they knew you would be vulnerable. Christmas, your birthday, holidays. They knew that this was going to get to you. So I'm
Yes.
not falling victim to that. But if
Don't
I
do it.
yeah,
Don't
but
do it.
if I get a message from an ex on my birthday, I just look at it and smile cuz I just know I made that lasting impression and they never forgot April 4th,
Yep.
my birthday.
Don't fall back into the web because it's,
Exactly.
oh man, just wanted to wish you a happy birthday. I didn't want anything.
So yeah, no, you did, and that's why you messaged me on my birthday.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so here's another one. Commenting on pictures and liking pictures.
Uh-uh. Yeah, no. No, it's tough, okay? So, it all depends on what conversations and expectations and boundaries you have set with your partner for that.
Okay.
Because if you're in a healthy relationship and a person likes a photo or a content piece that maybe is a woman that is, beautiful or of that, someone that's really good looking.
Hmm.
Are you going to pick a fight over that? Like, well, you don't know the reason behind that. That could be a colleague. That could be someone that just aligns with your partner's, work. I mean, there are so many caveats here. But if my man is always liking the same, OnlyFans model's picture,
Yep.
I'm sorry, I didn't know we were working in OnlyFans. So it's
You'd
tough.
be surprised how often this stuff comes. Well, you may not be. Obviously, you work and you live in this space. Man, these really do create some major arguments in relationships.
Absolutely.
And it's hard sometimes to explain. So why are you liking her picture? And then you should just see. I'm gonna pick on guys. It's like, I mean, I just, it just, I mean, I wasn't even thinking about it.
Yeah,
There's no legitimate reason to say why I'm liking this IG model. So,
right, right, and we've all been there. I mean,
mhm.
I've done that with, I've had that conversation with my boyfriend, like, "Hold on, I thought you didn't do social media, like, why what?
You
What?"
scrolling the
What?
ground pretty tough. So,
Exactly, and so it's just a conversation that needs to be had, so both of you guys are in agreement, right? And the topic of this is relationships. Should they be on social media? Should a relationship be public on social media? And all the little nuances that come with that. But there are
mhm,
people that are very public on social media that have very public relationships that are literally facing demons that are on the brink of a breakup or a divorce.
yeah,
And so, it's just social media it's an augmented reality.
it is. It really is.
Mhm.
Thinking about that augmented reality, and I think it happens subconsciously without us even realizing it. But there is this comparison trap
Mm.
where, you kind of comparing, but you're
Mm.
not.
Mm.
How do you safeguard that? Because again, no one goes into it like, hey, I'm comparing myself to Karen in her relationship. No one like will ever explicitly say that. But you can find yourself if you're not careful. Well, they post this and then I kind of post that. Or they go to Bali and now I'm in Greece. How do you make sure
Yeah,
that you're not slipping into that comparison trap?
it's a very, very sick reality. And I think that, you need to be okay with yourself. I almost think that social media should come with a warning label.
Mhm.
Like when you enter this space, you
Yes.
gotta continue to be in full understanding that you're just
Mhm.
living life for you by you.
Yeah.
And so people go into it and immediately they see something that they want that they don't have. It's a immediate reflection of everything that we want to be. And
Yeah.
so people start automatically comparing themselves, looking at the things that they don't have. It's almost, if you don't enter it with that warning in mind or with
Mhm.
that premeditated effort that I am going to go into this space and it's going to make me feel good, the moment that it doesn't make you feel good or that you start looking and seeing how you don't measure up to someone or how someone who my boyfriend liked her picture,
Mhm.
I'm not her because she is this and this and that. That's the moment you need to log off and check yourself
Yeah.
because then it means that you're not happy in your core. And like I said, it's a reflection of everything that we are not.
Mhm.
In whether it's good or bad, whether it's right or wrong, it's because it's not us
Yeah.
because we're created just uniquely in the way that God made us. So
Mhm.
why are we looking for an exterior, um, you know, being
Yeah.
tell us who we are and what we should be?
Yeah, that's a good point. You talked about, you see something and it kind of makes you feel a certain type of way internally. I- In those situations, where say you see your boyfriend, your spouse liking a picture, and it's really not big enough for you to bring it to him because you don't want to seem like, you know, you're insecure, even
Mhm.
though you do feel some type of way about them liking a particular picture. Move the partner to the side. How do you navigate that on a personal level? Like, is that indicative of something that you need to work on, or do you need to create some more boundaries within your relationship? Maybe have a conversation. Like, how do you work that out on your own terms?
Yeah, I think you said it, really well. It's really about is this a small infraction? Should I hold on to
Mhm.
it? Should I bring it up? But it's really bothering me. Well, if
Yeah.
it's really bothering you, then definitely, bring it up and measure your partner's reaction, right? So that you know if that's your battle to pick at next time.
Mhm.
Because not all arguments should be theatered around social media, period,
Mhm.
in a relationship, right? But if something does bother you at your core and it bothers you enough to say something, um, then you want to have that conversation so you can work through it.
Mhm.
That's part of what, therapy is
Yeah,
about. It's about
absolutely.
working through it and moving on. And so there are things that have come up in my relationship now that are related to social media that I brought up once, we worked through it, don't have to bring it up again because I was secure with my partner's answer and how we managed to work through that.
Yeah. No, that's good. So let's move social media to the side because obviously we know social media is addictive and it's this augmented reality. Sometimes you're just on your phone a lot.
Yeah.
And this is problematic in a relationship because you're out to dinner and even if they're not posting, they're just scrolling, scrolling, scrolling. Like,
Right.
how do you have a conversation without trying to control someone, tell them what to do, get off your phone. Every time I look up, you're on your phone. And then you know the rebuttal, well, you're on your phone too. And here we go. It kind of spirals out of control. How do we detach from being so connected to these devices here?
It's super unhealthy. It's super
Mhm.
unhealthy, and that's why we have systems in place in every single platform, even in our phones, that measure screen time. That literally, there are TikTok users that have set alarms on their phone for how many hours they can limit themselves to TikTok use daily. I spend a lot of time with creators and influencers, and even when I'm in person with them, I am annoyed. Like, I get it that you're an influencer. I get it that you're a creator, but I am annoyed at the fact that we can't even have a conversation because you're on your phone.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a real problem because it is a known fact that using social media, that browsing through content, it does release dopamine. It does give your brain a gratification. It is triggering that, right? It's triggering a
Mhm.
reward system in your brain. So the function of you liking, commenting, sharing, vice versa, is actually sending a signal to your brain.
Yeah.
And so I think that we have to kind of dial it back and start getting that reward from real life interactions. So as much
Mhm.
as I'm an advocate of social media, I sometimes find myself on there and I'm like, oh, I got to get off
Yeah.
because it's no longer rewarding for me. Now I'm just browsing mindlessly
Mhm.
and it is not serving a purpose in my life
Yeah.
other than I'm just sitting there getting dopamine from a phone
Just shooting off.
and just shooting off, but I really wanna be engaged in real life, and so I don't
Mm.
have a problem telling you if we're on a date or if we're having family time or if we're eating dinner as family, like, you're gonna get off your phone
Yeah.
because we need to experience real life with one another yet again.
That's awesome. Hey, and this is coming from the founder of a social media marketing company. So this isn't just a random person. Hey,
Right.
any last tips for people managing social media and relationships? I know you've been sprinkling gems all throughout, but just any other thoughts or any other comments that would be beneficial for people as they kind of navigate this, um, you know,
Mhm.
augmented reality.
Yeah. I think it's just about finding balance, and being present in your relationship and what that means to you and your partnership. I think a lot of people try to set rules going into relationships like, this is how I'm going to be, or this is how it's going to be for me.
My way or the highway.
No, boo. I saw you on social media for one day. You posted your man on day one, and it did
Mhm.
not work out for you. So it's like you can't set rules for something that hasn't happened yet. But when
Mm.
you're present on your relationship and you determine how you want to find that balance, and that's healthy for both of you, that is like the best possible. You're gonna get the best possible outcome when you hit that. When you're at that bridge in your relationship.
Awesome. Awesome. I appreciate it, Karen. Listen, where can people find you and for companies? I mean, I know myself included, there's so many companies out there who need the services that you guys offer. Where can they find you and how do they go about partnering with social
Absolutely.
behavior?
Yeah, so we have a website, obviously, socialbehavior.com. That is also our Instagram, social behavior. And then my personal one is Karen Diamant, and that is spelled at KarenDeamat. Please follow along, and I'm happy to be here with you today. Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
Awesome. Awesome. And make sure you follow us on Instagram and like us on social media platforms and all that good stuff. So thank you
Absolutely.
guys so much for tuning in to another episode of Untherapeutic.
Thank you.